Hello, and welcome to the session. Thank you for joining me today. 2020 has been a year of unprecedented change. The economy took a hit, and the markets suffered across the world. By March, the stock markets declined over 30%. On March 9th morning, the Standard & Poor's 500 dropped 7% in the first 4 minutes after opening, triggering a circuit breaker for the first time since the financial crisis of 2008, halting trading for 15 minutes. Things were changing at lightning speed. For many of us who created a plan for the year, it became obsolete overnight, and our visibility in the road ahead shortened severely from quarterly and monthly timeframes to weekly and even daily timeframes. Like every other business that had the rug pulled out from under, we had to regroup and respond to the changes. We responded quickly. We tried many different things. Today, I'm going to share with you the story of how we successfully turned the ship through the pandemic and responded to the market in a timely manner. Any change or initiative requires 3 components: people, process, and technology. Our transformation also had these same pillars, and these pillars can help any marketing team move at the speed of change. The first pillar is the process. We drew inspiration from the agile methodology, which is popular in software development, and we created a modified version for marketing. The second pillar is the people or the human component. We created a PMO or program management function within marketing. And the third pillar is the technology. We continue to manage, plan, and track our work on a collaborative work management platform, or CWM, in our case on Wrike. Marketers operate in an extremely fast-paced world, which got faster paced with COVID. It's all about the speed and staying ahead of the game. Consumer expectations are increasing. They are exposed to 4,000 to 10,000 brands every day, and it takes 5 to 7 impressions for someone to remember a brand. To cut through this noise, you have to stay ahead of the trends. Otherwise, if you're late to the game, then you're part of the noise. And marketing trends change very fast. Let me give you a couple of examples to illustrate the pace at which things move. The advertising world is a good example. It takes 200 milliseconds for an ad auction, and billions of auctions happen in an hour. So marketers have to stay on top of everything and react very quickly. The rate at which new products and features are released in the SaaS world is another example. It takes 3 to 6 months to launch a whole new company, and then you can release updates every week. So the market is changing at a weekly and monthly pace, and so marketers have to also operate at that cadence to stay relevant and competitive. Consumers also expect hyper-personalized experiences. There is close to 1 trillion audience data points that is available through marketing and advertising platforms today that makes it really easy for brands to offer one-to-one personalized and relevant experiences. So consumers have come to expect relevant and personalized experiences as a norm, which means you have to create unique experiences for every single audience segment, and that means more deliverables and more assets. You also have to follow your customers wherever they go so you can stay at top of mind, otherwise your competitors will. So add to that more campaigns to the mix. In summary, marketers need to deliver exponentially more in exponentially less time and be able to react and respond in real time. With the pandemic, the pace of things just shot through the roof. Now, with this need to operate at high velocity, an agile approach becomes a necessity, which brings me to the first pillar. Agile methodology started as a process in the software development world, but the basic tenets apply to marketing as well. Prior to Agile, our processes looked something like this. We would start with the vision, we would do some market research to validate our hypothesis. Then we will create an elaborate plan, execute to the plan, and then track performance and take the learnings to the next launch. Now, this works fairly well if your market is static between the time you create your vision and deliver the results. But if things are in constant flux, it completely breaks down. There are some key principles of agile that we took and adapted for our situation. First, we started our campaigns with a high-level vision and jumped right into execution. No requirement documents, no elaborate launch plans, no approvals. Second, we focused on launching minimum viable campaigns in 1 to 2 week timeframes. For example, we decided to launch a weekly educational webinar focused on remote working. We launched the first webinar within a week. We got more than 3,000 registrations and 1,500 attendees and downloads. It wasn't perfect, but we did something that was timely, highly relevant, and most importantly, before any of our competitors did something similar. This required some of our team members to drop everything and focus only on this campaign so that we could shrink the usual time frame of 3 weeks to 1 week. Which brings me to the third principle of agile, which is having a key set of people interacting very closely and very frequently. The only way we could launch the campaign that quickly was to cut communication latencies and keep people tightly aligned. So a few key people from different teams would meet every day for 30 minutes and go through the tasks at hand, update status, check status, iron out the roadblocks, and keep progressing. In the agile world, these would be called the Scrum meetings. Using this process, we launched multiple small campaigns in 2 week timeframes. In addition to the webinar, we sent an email from our CEO to our customers. We created 3 different product offers. We launched a brand new template. We created advertisements focused on remote working. We created a dedicated resources page. We created outreach sequences for sales and more. We did all of this with no project briefs, no requirement documents, and no elaborate plans. By launching multiple small campaigns quickly, we had sufficient volume of campaigns to optimize performance based on real data. We constantly tracked the performance. We ran A/B tests and optimized performance. We killed the non-performers, and we doubled down on the ones that performed well. And we kept launching campaigns at a fast pace to keep adding to this process and keep the process going. With COVID, we also did things for the first time. For example, all physical events had to be switched to the virtual format. Direct mail campaigns had to be switched to the digital format. We had no industry benchmarks or data. The only option was for us to validate with real-time data. When things are in constant flux, don't strive for perfection. Prioritize speed over perfection. Launch something quickly and then perfect it over time using real-world data. With this process of experimentation, iteration, and optimization, we were able to identify and scale 5 new channels in a 3-month period. We launched 15 different campaigns to uncover the 5. It definitely seemed like a chaotic roller coaster ride, but we built a systematic process to deliver predictable, repeatable success. To implement any process successfully, you need people, which brings me to the second pillar, which is the PMO, or the program management function within marketing. The agile approach involves intense and frequent face-to-face interactions. To successfully implement this approach, you need a person outside of your core contributors that can own the execution and the coordination of the process. This person is called the Scrum Master in the Agile methodology. In the marketing world, this should be a coordinator or a project manager. It is important to separate your core work or the actual work from the coordination work to move fast. And so this role becomes really important in the Agile methodology. There are a few characteristics that would make a project manager or a coordinator successful. First, they need to have a deep understanding of how the different marketing teams interact with each other and the dependencies. They don't have to be an expert in any area, but they need to understand the interworkings of the teams. Second, they need to be well organized and they need to be excellent at project management. Third, they need to have an outspoken personality. The Scrum meetings are attended by subject matter experts and senior leaders. The PM needs to be comfortable asking difficult questions, needs to keep attendees on topic, and not be afraid to give directions and have the difficult conversations. The PM runs the daily Scrum meetings, so 30-minute stand-up calls every day, and this is where all the team members get together and they go through the active tasks, they check status, update status, discuss roadblocks, and takes action items. The PM also meets with the executive sponsor once or twice a week and finalize the list of tasks that would go into the backlog, right? The list of tasks to be worked on in the next, what is called a sprint. Also iron out any issues that need approval. The PM owns a project and is a single person that creates and assigns tasks. They own the budget and the timelines. They also track and report performance on all the projects they manage. The PM does all of this on a tool, which brings me to the third pillar, which is a collaborative work management platform, or CWM. So what is a collaborative work management platform? It's a software tool that allows you to manage and create and track performance of your work, and more importantly, collaborate with your team members and other cross-functional team members. You can also automate repetitive tasks and streamline your workflows. So instead of managing your tasks on a spreadsheet, your communications on email, and your discussions on instant messaging, your schedules on a calendar, you can manage everything related to your work on a single platform. So everybody's on the same page, everybody has complete visibility, and you can find everything you want in one single place. So it's really an app for work that significantly increases your efficiency. It's an essential part of the workplace technology stack and has become a critical need now with remote working. In a fast-changing world, your teams need to move really fast. So the time that you're spending managing all of your work across different tools, your email and your instant messaging and your spreadsheets, the time that your team spends chasing after status, the time that your team spends managing all of their tasks on spreadsheets, the time you spend piecing all of the shreds of work together across different tools, and the time you spend stitching all of this data together to understand the progress and the status is all becoming extremely expensive. It's keeping your team from moving at the speed of change. To move at the speed of change, your team needs a collaborative work management platform to maximize efficiency and accelerate business growth. With these three pillars, Agile, PMO, and CWM, we were able to meet our goals every single month. We were also able to launch a complete brand refresh in 4 months with a workforce that was completely remote and distributed across 10 different time zones. So bringing this all together, it's all about survival. Technology is moving at lightning speed. The pace at which new products are launched and transactions happen and features are released has exponentially increased. I'll take the example of the MarTech landscape. Chief MarTech publishes an infographic with all the logos from the MarTech companies. When they started in 2011, there were 150 logos in that infographic. In 3 years, it crossed the 1,000 mark, and in 3 more years, in 2017, it passed the 5,000 mark, and now in 2019, it crossed the 7,000 mark. To survive in this type of environment, you need to move fast and adapt. Charles Darwin, in his landmark book, The Origin of Species, shows that the species that best adapt to a changing environment have the best chance of surviving, and the ones that don't adapt don't make it. So for marketers and business leaders around the globe looking to thrive and survive through these unprecedented changes, let's embrace the 3 pillars and adapt. Thank you.